Hey guys, Garage Maxed Out here. I am here today with my BMW 335D. I know I've done a couple of how-to videos on this car, but not a walk around on kind of the car and why I bought it. So I want to do that for you. That kind of dull throb that you hear behind me is the diesel, the inline 6-cylinder diesel motor, the last of its kind that you can buy in the US. And I want to take you through the car and show you kind of why I bought the car and highlight a couple of things. Okay, so this is the car. I've been hunting for one of these for probably 2 years now. And the problem is, well, one, this car is harder to get a hold of than something like a Lamborghini Gallardo, of which there are about 12,000 in the States. And these 335Ds, probably only around 10,000. So they're kind of rare. But then in addition to finding one, you got to find one in good condition. And these things, generally when you find them, they're pretty hammered. The inline 6-cylinder diesel can take a lot of abuse. They're known to go 400 plus horsepower, 700 foot-pounds of torque. This one in stock form is 265 horsepower and 425 foot-pounds of torque. So on top of the awesome motor, there are a couple of options that I really had to have. One of which are these leg bolsters. They're not electric, which I was kind of disappointed to find out. They are manual, but it's really cool because when you're driving on long trips, that really helps ease some of the just kind of discomfort that you get on long trips. The second thing that I needed was the Harman Kardon premium audio, and this is a little bit tough to find. About 30% of the cars had this installed as an option. And one of the really unique things about this car is you can notice the absence of a nav system. And that's cool for two reasons. One, the nav system on this car is a second hump in the middle of the dashboard, which restricts your visibility. But then two, this car is a 2011, which means a nav system put in 10 years ago is not something very viable today. You're not going to use it anyway. So I wanted the premium audio. Really cool to find one that was optioned from the original owner without having that big bulky screen in the middle. And the car has right around 100,000 miles on it. So it's in great shape. Really lucky to find something like this. And let me take you through a couple of the highlights. Okay, so one of the first things that you guys may notice in comparison to the Mercedes video that I just did, this car has some pretty good noise isolation, and even though it's a diesel, you can't really hear the growl of that diesel in the car unless you put your foot into it, which is pretty cool. This car and all of these either will come with your wood grain or kind of this high-end plastic material on the inside, but all in all feels very BMW-like, really premium, really like the feel. I could go on and tell you guys about why you would want to buy a BMW, which the main thing would be the handling. This car handles better than a $100,000 GTR, which is definitely saying something. This car specifically though, and one of the things that I want to go through is the motor characteristic. For reference, this motor is more powerful than if you were to, in the late 90s, go and buy yourself a Ford diesel pickup truck. It's more powerful than that. So it's definitely got a lot of low-end grunt. In terms of heavy driving, you're going to experience the power very low in the band, which makes it really cool to drive. Like obviously my other car is a GTR. It's really cool to spool that thing up and go really fast. But this definitely puts you back in your seat right away. I mean, there's like, it's and obviously you can't feel it through the video, but you put your foot down and you are moving in this car. And it never feels like you're out of control, even though this is a rear-wheel drive car. So I've got 425 foot-pounds of torque in this car. The planted quintessential BMW front handling just handles this car around the curves, and it's just a unique driving experience. I had a 330i. Just try and get through here. I had a 330i, and that was a really fun car. Definitely a great handling experience, but definitely didn't have the it didn't have the grunt that this thing has. This thing just feels like you will not run out of torque, which is just an awesome feeling. And another thing that I've noticed, you know, I've had my GTR pretty much sideways, and it's an all-wheel drive car. This car has never given me the feeling that it is out of control. Like it is fully in control at all times. It's a really good traction control system that just puts you in control and makes you feel very confident on the road at any speed. And one thing I really like about this car is you feel engaged and you feel like you're having a good time in the car, even at low speeds. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour for this car to make you feel like, wow, I'm actively driving and I'm having a good time. Okay, so I think you guys get a feel for some of the driving characteristics. It's really tough to describe over video, and I'm sure if you found this video, you're probably watching dozens and dozens of these 35D videos. What I want to do next is I want to show you kind of what the market looks like. Again, this is a relatively rare car, kind of tough to find one that is not really beat up or already modified heavily, but I'll show you what the market looks like now. At minimum, it'll serve as kind of a reference point in time for those of you guys that are shopping, or maybe somebody who stumbles on this video in the future. And I'll just kind of show you from a computer screen what you can get out there in today's market. Okay, so first off, if we just look in Google for 335D, you guys will see that there are a wealth of enthusiast resources available online for this car. It's just very well renowned, highly modifiable, and just a ton of resources. One really cool site that I found before I bought the car is this one here, Tune My Euro. They've got a bunch of different resources to show you how to modify this vehicle, as well as where to get tunes, that sort of thing. And their sample car is actually a really well optioned one. You'll see in this one that nav screen that I was talking about earlier, but you'll see here their version on the dyno, 248, 398, and then they get it all the way up to 464, 715. And look at these curves on here. Like, this is just extremely impressive. Super steep curve, which means it's going to be really fun to drive. So just showing you guys a couple of the different types of resources out there. But let's go ahead and dig in and see what's available for sale. Now, this is just my area, but it's relatively representative of what you'd find pretty much in any major metropolitan area. If we look for a 335D, we're going to see a couple that have used it as a keyword, and then maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky in the hands of private sellers. And then you'll have dealerships like this one here that are just charging an extreme premium for, in my opinion, not very impressive examples. On this one specifically, you can see it's dented on the back here on this rear quarter. On the other side of the car, it looks like it's been sideswiped, and a detailer tried to kind of puff it up as much as they could. But you can kind of see this side of this car looks like Swiss cheese, and they went 12 grand for it. Now, for reference, these cars in Kelley Blue Book are right around $6,500. So there's no way you're going to get one of these things for Blue Book. Just throw it out the window. If I open up my search here to everything around this kind of southwest region, you'll see that there are not that many examples that are missing. You'll find 1 or 2 more than what's available in the Phoenix area, but it's not like there's a ton of them out there. Here's one example. Here's one example that I thought was kind of worth mentioning because it's representative of what I called out earlier in the first part of the video. This is basically a base model 335D. You can see it does have the premium audio, but it doesn't have the upgraded seats. There are a bunch of options missing, and it's pretty basic. And even still, they're asking 10 grand for it. So this is really what you're going to find out there. Again, there's probably right around 10,000 of these available in the States. That's not including cars that have been totaled, anything like that, ones that are in long-term storage, whatever the case may be. They're pretty hard to get a hold of, and they're not so new as that you'll find them in like CarMax or dealerships like that. They're too old for that, so you're really only going to find them on kind of street corner used car lots and then private sellers. One place I always check, obviously, is eBay. Love eBay. You can always find a deal on here. And if you look on eBay, there's actually only 2 examples available right now, which is kind of a shame, but it seems like that's the way the market is headed. This one's actually the most expensive one that I've seen available, this top one here at $16,500. This one is really well outfitted. I will give them that. It's got a lot of good options, but it is missing the premium audio. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a tough option to find. Really like the color combination of this car though. That white exterior and the brown interior. You really have to see it in person, but trust me, it's a really, really cool color combination. Another one here, right around the 10,000 mark, private seller. And again, this one's missing the premium seats. It does have the nav, which is kind of cool, but it's not like a loaded car, and it's still in the 5 figures. Last thing to kind of just give you guys a brief overview through is the Wikipedia page. Obviously a wealth of information here, but maximum power from the factory out of the 35D engine, 282 horsepower, 428 foot-pounds of torque. This motor was used for a really long time, and I actually want to show you this M57 motor entry on Wikipedia. But it's kind of evolved over time and has reached its pinnacle as of this latest, 2010 to 2013 generation. And as I'm showing you guys this page, just a brief note on a comment that I made at the very beginning of the video. So if you're looking for an inline 6-cylinder diesel sedan, you really only have 2 choices in terms of modern vehicles. All the manufacturers are moving into 4-cylinder diesels. So the last 2 cars that you can get here in the US are the 335D and the 535D. If you're looking for something that's going to be a nimble, rocket ship, the 335D is really your last option, which is one of the reasons that this car is so sought after, in addition to the ease at which you can crank up the power on this vehicle. So a ton of different iterations here, as you can see in the M57 motor. So that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell.